All right, welcome to the Unhinged videocast slash podcast. I'm your host, Kenny McKnight, also known as the Unhinged Lunatic, Vincent Cross. And with me is my co-host here, the Indian Nightmare, Vineesh. And this is the trial run, so we're going to see just how far we can get before I do something stupid. If nothing else, it'll be entertaining.
Yeah, so on this episode or on this video podcast, so we're gonna explain to the audience just like what we have on our future podcast, like what we can expect, right?
Yep.
As of yeah.
I think we've already got a couple people lined up as guests for the show. I know we've talked to Miss Hannah, as well as Joker Wild and Damien, who'd like to kind of talk about their music career as well as wrestling.
Yeah.
I said I'm a musician as well as a wrestler. I was doing music since I was 10 years old, so I've definitely got that background. And I like the idea of being able to do more than just wrestling. I figure, hey, if Chris Jericho can do it, I'll do it too.
Yeah,
right. He's good, but
he's the leading example.
He can be the name brand. I'm the generic. So
I'll
be the great value brand Jericho. I'll take that. Biggest reason I decided to do this was really largely off of the last podcast of yours I was on when we discussed COVID and so many other things that no one really wants to talk about. I guess I showed you the screenshots with people contacting me that really enjoyed it, and they're like, "You should do this." I'm like, well, if I'm going to do it, I want to do it a little bit differently because there's so many people doing podcasts now. I mean, you got Buckshot's got one. I guess he said the
BSJ podcast. He's unavailable on Anchor.fm. The Nightmare podcast. Then what was the other one he was talking about? Welcome to the Jungle podcast.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of guys doing those. I mean, podcasts or Diamond Dozen, you can find them anywhere, and there's a lot of really great ones. So Diamond Dozen, I don't mean to knock any of them, but I was like, I could just do a podcast, but why not do video? Because I do a lot of video editing on my promos, so I bring that into it. Which already I got excited just making the logo because I like doing graphic design, and I was kind of happy with how it turned out. It was a little simple, but I'll make more as I go along. I still need to actually probably make one for your podcast at some point.
Yeah, cool. Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
I started doing that as a hobby anyways. That's how I started doing the wrestling posters, is working for IWA. I didn't like the posters they had, so I was like, can I make one? If you like it, great. If you don't, we won't use it.
But when you were making these posters, you weren't really charging any money. You were doing it for free.
Yeah, I was doing it for free right up until TWA got going, and Brad insisted on paying me for them. So I made him set a price. I didn't know what to charge. Yeah, I didn't know what to charge, so I just had him set the price. I'm like, well, what do you think they're worth? So he talked to the guy that was making the printing the posters out, and the guy set a price, and that's what we went with. I was like, that's fine by me. I mean, I wasn't asking any money, so if I can make a little bit, why not?
So when you were in IWA, you were making posters, you're a talent, you're booking, but still, you're doing 3 jobs at a time, but you're still not getting paid.
I'm the perfect person to hire for a company because I'm willing to do things for free, apparently.
And you're fired, Kenny.
Well, actually, I didn't get fired from there. I walked.
No, I know.
But I did get fired from RPW. Technically, they say I didn't get fired, but the guy that was the booker said he was, also a co-owner fires me. Whatever. It's what it is.
Yeah, in the state of Ohio, I believe there are more than 100 promotions out there.
Yeah.
So I don't know when they're gonna start doing wrestling shows, man. It's bad. I don't know what's happening, but it's weird at the same time because I recently did a show in Wisconsin, which is close to Chicago, Illinois. They have highest cases in those states and those places, and they're still running with like COVID guidelines, like people wearing masks and maintaining the social distancing. But Ohio, we're not even in the list, was probably like maybe a top 10, but still Wisconsin, Illinois, Ohio's like way lower compared to the COVID-19 positive cases, but still the athletic commission or sports, whatever, they are not given the permission. I believe
Yeah,
so far the only thing that they said, I was just reading the post that Tom McLean posted uh, about some sort of like a certificate or paper or something. It says um, for the contact sports, you have to have a private facility and you still can't train or something like
yeah,
that, but you're not allowed to do a show.
yeah. I saw that earlier today too from him, and I mean, I don't understand why it's so locked down on wrestling and stuff, but I've always said that I personally don't think the Ohio Athletic Commission should really be over wrestling.
Yeah.
Um, because they're like, oh, it's about sports, it's about sports. Well, not to break kayfabe again, but it's not exactly the same sport in the same sense that like football or baseball. Um, I said, can't we just tell them it's entertainment and not have to pay the commission, hundreds of dollars to do a show?
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I had no clue, man, until I did the podcast with Brad when he was telling me like every time when you run a show, you have to pay $100.
yeah,
And hey,
and
IW were like they were so smart.
then
They were not paying anything.
if you don't pay the deposit and if you don't have your license, they can come and confiscate your ring.
Yeah.
You can face huge fines. You can be arrested. Especially like right now, if you were caught running a show in Ohio, they could and most likely would have you arrested. At least the promoter. I don't know if the workers would get in trouble. I'm sure they could face fines, but
Mm-hmm.
I know for a fact that you can't run a show in Ohio right now. It doesn't matter where you're doing that. You want to set up at your friend's house, and if they find out you got more people than you're supposed to have there, and you're running a wrestling event, even if you're charging no admission,
Yeah.
you're still facing jail time.
I think it's more of kind of like a public gathering thing, it's like maybe that's why. Because if you look into birthday parties or July 4th or anything else, I mean, people are still gathering, doing all these things, drinking and everything, but still, I believe like professional wrestling is kind of like a threat right now because people are tired. They just want to go out and do something, and wrestling is going to bring a lot of people together, and it's a threat. Unfortunately,
Yeah.
there's a chance to get more positive cases.
It's just crazy right now. There's people that think that it's okay, think you can get around it, and I know there are places now where you can run shows. I think it's great as long as they're doing it safely.
Yeah.
I'm dying to get back in the ring, but I'm not willing to risk other people's health and my own just to get in the ring for a few minutes. I'd rather rest my body up and not go catch COVID just trying to wrestle.
Yeah.
Especially at the pay grade that you get at our level.
Yeah. I believe this Virginia, they're running shows too, right? With them.
They had been, but I don't know if they're going to now because they just changed the maximum occupancy for venues for gatherings from 100 back down to 25. I don't know how you can make money with that because that includes the 25 isn't just 25 fans. That's your workers, your people who run in concessions, everyone you've got. And I've never seen a show run with less than 25 people.
Dang, man. Well, I mean, I've seen once Chillicothe before this pandemic happened.
If you got 5 matches, that's 10 guys right there. Then you got your time, your whoever does the announcing, whoever's running sound. There's 12 people.
So it's total 25.
Got a ref. Yeah, and 13 with a ref. So I mean, you're already almost you're over halfway there, and you haven't even invited someone to the door yet.
So it's not the fans, the total 25 numbers.
Yeah.
Oh, still that would be tough, man.
That's why even with the 100, we still had to take into account wrestlers and stuff. So you could 100 fans in a show. Yeah, you can turn a profit if you charge enough. And right now, you could say, well, it's premium because you can't have as many people. But realistically, you're only selling about 3/4 of that.
Yeah. Charge tickets like for $30 or something like that.
That's actually, I know I discussed that with Brad, the idea of charging more for ticket, and he said he didn't feel comfortable asking people for more money. He's like, money's tight right now too with everything that's
Yeah.
going on. So to ask everyone for more money to come out with bigger risk, I can't say I blame him. I mean, I'd love to get back in the ring. I'm wanting to get a hold of Samuel so bad I can't stand it.
Yeah. Well, there are the promotions running in West Virginia too, right? So they
Yeah, I
do
know.
this.
I know, like Real Shoot, they're running right now, and I don't know if they have any crowd. I think like a few of the people that are there go out to ringside to make some noise, kind of like they're doing on TV. But
Yeah.
they're everything they're doing right now is filmed to be online. I think that's how they're getting by with it.
The Real Shoot Wrestling, though, so they're wrestlers. They shoot each other in the ring.
I gotta say, it's the worst wrestling company name I've ever heard of. I mean, people complain about companies that don't run out of one town having a U.S. title. I used to
Yeah.
make fun of IWA. When I was the United States champion in IWA, I like to make fun of the fact that I was the U.S. champion for a company that never left one town in Ohio. So, I mean, it didn't
Wow.
really, it's like, why have a company? I'm the champion of the United States. Where do you wrestle? Chillicothe. Well, where else? Chillicothe.
Yeah. Right.
Okay. But then they're going Real Shoot. So are they saying that everyone else is fake and they're real, or are they saying
Real
I
Shoot
don't get
Wrestling.
it?
It's kind of like, yeah, you're gonna get shoot. You're gonna get,
Yeah, we'll
get the
do the.
beatings in the ring. They'll bitch slap you.
If we had Matt Hardy here, he'd be screaming to pause the multiverse so he could tell you what shoot means, which means real. So
Yeah.
Real
Right.
Shoot is that like Jericho calling people a stupid idiot?
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of the same thing, I think, but
I don't want to bash everybody in West Virginia, man.
oh
I stay
no, I
away
mean the
from.
company's got a lot of
Yeah.
great guys that work there. I got friends that wrestle there.
Yeah.
I know Rico De La Vega. He's been working there.
Yeah. He did. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
he's been there. Trey Evers is there. Bildo. There's some guys there I'm not so fond of. I won't mention names because that's not the point right now. But I hate the name of the company. I hope they do well, but I hate the name of the company.
Huh.
I said that from the get-go. When I first heard it, I'm like, wait, what? But I know that, like I said, they're running shows that way. I'm sure there's some other companies that are running shows that way. But I don't know. It is what it is, I guess.
Yes, some of these companies, man. I believe there's like ASW. I believe they have like great reputation and they do some good shows. And I think what was it called? West Virginia Wrestling Entertainment, WWE.
I've heard of them, yeah.
Slamwell worked for them, I believe. He mentioned he did a show for them or something, and they always draw good. I haven't heard anything bad about them. Then what was the other one that what's this guy's name? Lance Disman runs in Parkersburg Pro
Yeah, Pro
Wrestling
Wrestling
Inception.
Inception.
Yeah,
Yeah. Um,
yeah.
I
He
know Vane
was
Lewis has been there. That's where
Tierra Ali. He was
Pierre Lee,
there.
Brandon Skinner, they both were trained by Vance, and um, I went to one of those shows and it was pretty good. I enjoyed it.
They have like a good talents and good matches, but again, I don't know what was the reason why they don't really draw well.
I don't know
Maybe
because
it's
they're in
just a training
Parkersburg and there's a
facility
lot
or
of people. I mean, Parkersburg's a decent population, but I'll admit when we went there, we stopped at the gas station just a little ways down the street from where the show was, and there was no poster.
Wow.
That used to be a common thing at IWA is you go to a town where the show's at, and people in the town don't know there's a show happening.
Yeah.
We were running in New Holland, and there was a big banner out front that I designed that was like this 8-foot banner hanging up right out in front of the building on the street. So we got there. I'm thinking, well, people will know about this because we got this huge sign.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
We walked 2 blocks down, myself and Joshua Charles, to the gas station there. Like it was like a little gas station grocery store. And when we got there was no signs up, and the people there like were giving us weird looks because I think I was still wearing part of my like workout gear. So I was
Okay.
wearing like I had kick pads and stuff on still. And we're like, oh, we got the show down here tonight, and there's a show. Yeah.
Wow.
I was like, I designed the poster, I designed the banner. There's a banner down the street, but no one knows it's happening. And
Yeah,
I think
that's the
that's,
thing, man. You're advertising through the social media, how much people you can bring in through Facebook or Twitter. You still got to go out there and put it all these posters and let people
oh
know
yeah,
that we're running somewhere, or we're doing a show, we have a wrestling show, not on the day, at least a couple of weeks before the show, before the event, let the people know, okay, within 2 weeks we're doing this, so they can get time off from the work too.
now I've had people in like IWA. It happened a lot. People would complain about who's on the poster.
Yeah.
There was a lot of guys that I knew were popular with the crowd. So when I'm making a poster, those are the people I put on the poster.
Josh
People would
wasn't
say,
there for a
well,
very long period of time, I remember.
but people were like, well, why isn't this person on there? Why isn't that person on there? Because people aren't going to see it and come in because of them. It's not a knock
Yeah.
on them. That's not a knock on talent. When I first got there, they didn't know who I was.
Yeah.
But after time, everyone that went to the shows, especially when I was working as a heel, people were willing to pay money to see me get my butt kicked. So I could put myself on the poster and my opponent
Yeah.
and say that we're having a match. And even if it's middle of the card, bottom of the card, people were like, that guy's going to beat up Cross. I want to be there.
Yeah.
Like running here for Brad, running in this area. I live here. People here know me. David Day lives here. People know him. I was like, like when you first got there, I was like, even with you at the top of the card, putting you as the main focal on the poster, if they don't know who you are, doesn't help as much as putting guys that everyone in the area knows.
Yeah, that's true.
And
Makes
like
sense.
I know at the beginning I told you like these are hometown guys, and you're like, oh cool. I was like, hey, he
Yeah.
gets it.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if you're the hottest thing in the world. If you got someone else that someone's going to draw, that's who you put prominently on the poster. If you don't have a hot angle that's already drawing people in. So
Yeah. Marketing advertising is also like a very important thing. Like people need to go out and put the posters out there.
oh yeah.
But that's not really happening these days. And now also the wrestling speak out movement started coming out. That affected a lot of Philadelphia-based promotion. That's where Cesaro and all those guys came from. Shikara.
Yeah.
Yeah, they shut it down, man. The owners like closed the promotion. Then Evolve. I'm glad WWE bought Evolve.
Yeah.
There won't be no more Evolve anyway. But that's also another promotion where like people could just go there and do something and get an opportunity.
I know a lot of people get excited when they hear that like WWE is acquired different properties and stuff. I've never got really excited about that because as soon as someone bigger takes over, it makes it harder for anyone starting out to get in sometimes. Not always.
It closed the doors for so many people.
Yeah.
I mean, look at the WWE Performance Center. I mean, not just Performance Center, NXT. They've signed so many talents from so many different countries, and they haven't got a chance. They're still working there as an extra. Ring crew, and everyone.
If you look at the people that, like over in England, that talk about British wrestling, and they mention NXT UK, the people that live there that talk about it all the time, like look at Wrestle Talk. Those guys have talked about it. They said that people there are convinced that they started it to kill that wrestling scene.
Well,
and
who got killed
did
now?
A lot of damage. And yeah, look what happened since then. We'll speak out.
Yeah, they closed the entire NXT UK, right?
Pretty much. I mean, it's at least on hiatus right now, but.
Oh yeah, they were trying to do the same thing in Japan, but it didn't work.
But yet there's also people that are getting heavily promoted and featured right now that have open accusations against them too. So there's always that.
Yeah, that's true, dude. It's kind of, remember, it's a public trading company now. Now, private sales, like anything that concerns with public, they have to take an action. That's why they fired Hulk Hogan right away after he making that or terrible comments.
Oh man, I'm kind of sad that we aren't I'm happy. I'm relieved. I'm really torn about the fact that we're not hearing a lot more now on Speak Out. It kind of lasted a real short time, and there's not a lot new coming out.
It's a burning bridges, man, too. That's the thing. Let's say I'm going out, I'm saying something, and I don't want to like lose my opportunity to work anywhere else. That's the thing. That's the most important thing too. Like, not a lot of people want to. Majority of these people who came out, they've been in the business for more than 7 to 10 years.
Yeah,
They already been there. They have done shows. Let's say someone like, for example, let's say I'm a rookie. I'm green. I just started out. Let's say I've been working for the last 5 years or 3 years, and I'm having bad times, but I can't open up because my dream is to get somewhere. And if I'm dragging someone's name, then that probably going to be like, affects my career. So I don't want to do it. I mean, that's a
yeah,
recent green people. A lot of youngsters, they don't want to be like, mentioned out there. They don't want to get involved. They just want to stay away from. The reason Megan, she was telling the entire experience on my podcast is also another reason. Like, she know exactly what she wanted, and she don't want to get into the WWE. She just want to do shows in the local areas, and
yeah.
that's pretty much it. So she have no problem coming out and saying it. It's not going to affect Megan in a big way. If Megan is trying to get into WWE, it's tough.
The sad thing is, it shouldn't have to affect anyone in any, regardless. It shouldn't negatively affect you
Yeah.
for speaking up when something bad happens. Like, I told on your podcast, I had people that were mad at me because I asked someone to be professional.
Yeah.
And he started talking to me about how I was green, I haven't paid dues. And my reaction to it, my response to him was, I said, no, you don't get it. I said, maybe not in this business. I said, but at the time, the time I was running my own business, I was managing a bar, so I was really busy all the time. I was
Yeah.
like, I said, I'm managing my own business. I'm a performer. I've been playing music and performing out for over 10 years now. I have
Yeah.
paid my dues. I said, I may not have been setting up rings for 10 years. I've been doing that for, I think, 3 at the time. I said, but I've been setting up and tearing down stages for the past 10, 15 years now, every night that I go out and do this. I said, so it may not be the exact same thing. I said, but don't talk about paying dues to me when I'm just asking you to not be a prick.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know about you. I don't care if you've been in this business, how long you've been doing it. If you're an ass, you're an ass.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely. And those people are saying that you're not paying dues. It's like, well, ask them. Have you?
Yeah.
And they're like, well, how many people are like willing to travel, man? Not a lot of people want to travel either. A couple of my guests on my podcast, when I did the season 1, even they mentioned like they didn't travel much. They don't want to because they're like families and stuff like that. And professional wrestling wasn't their first aim or main goal. I started traveling. I used to travel to New Jersey, Massachusetts, Pennsylvania. It's because that's all I wanted to do, and I wanted to go there, go earlier, like help guys to set up the ring and tear down and clean the building and everything, and that's how you pay the dues and you help people out. And still, it's sad to still to this day. Some people expect you to do that. I was like, why would I drive 5-6 hours to come over there and still help you tear down? And no, I'm not doing that. There's a difference. If you're like, a youngster, a green starting this business, yeah, that's how you do it. Like, and also there's a lot of things. So tearing down the ring and setting up the ring, that means you're still learning about the ring.
Yeah.
You're touching, you're grabbing, you're sensing everything.
When I first started working
Ropes,
in
turnbuckles,
IWA,
everything. Mm-hmm.
when I first got to IWA, there were some guys that didn't actually, a lot of people there didn't know how to set that ring up. I had mostly worked with rings where you have, the plank flooring with the, 2x8s or whatever, 2x10, whatever boards. Well, theirs wasn't that way. It had 2 different kinds of plywood laid down on it. And if you didn't lay it just the right way, you would have spots where where it would break if someone bumped in it.
Yeah.
And it was very dangerous if it wasn't done just right. And I remember my second show there, I'm watching this guy set the ring up who'd been with them for a couple of years at least.
Yeah.
And he'd been in the business for a lot longer than that. He's got it all set up, and I'm looking at it as he's putting it together, and he's in charge. I'm watching him and going, this isn't right. So when it got done, I crawled up underneath the ring and I looked, and these big boards, if the beam is here, the board was overlapping so that if someone would have bumped on the side, it would have snapped. There was, it needs to end. The end has to be on the support, and it wasn't set up right. So I wound up, as soon as he left, like to go get dressed, I think it was me and maybe Guile Castle. I think it was Guile. I made him come and help me, and we took the ring back down, moved all the boards around, and put it back together because it wasn't safe to work, and they were going to let it go. No one caught on except me looking at it going, I'm not getting that ring like that. So
especially
yeah, definitely you learn the ring.
Yeah, especially they had someone actually work with King Kong Bundy.
Well, this is before he came in.
Oh, my bad. I'm sorry. I'll take it back.
This is the night that I ended up wrestling Joka Wild in a lumberjack match. I think I sent you a video of that before.
Yeah.
Because he was talking to me backstage and talking about these ideas, and with Mucha, and I was like, "What if I worked Mucha? Instead of attacking you, what if I attack Mucha?" So of course we go for the tie up, and he's got his hand. Instead of a tie up, I'm like, "Test of strength." He puts his hand up there, and I just reached up and poked Mucha in the eyes, and he sold it. He's screaming that Mucha was hurting. At one point, I'm punching Mucha, and he's acting like Mucha's being hit in the face, and I'm like, man, we have this crowd ready to riot laughing at this because, the crowd knows Mucha isn't real, but you can convince them that you believe he is, and that's what matters.
Yeah. Absolutely, man.
I can't tell the crowd, I can't convince an audience that everything we do, everything they see is real, but I can convince them that I am. If I'm Cross and I'm crazy, I'm doing this stuff. Yeah. That's real. I'm really hitting myself. That actually really hurts.
It hurts,
It's easier to do it when I'm trying to be in character, but if I can make someone there go, I know that match I saw earlier, that was fake, but he's really nuts. I've done my job.
Well, you guys were like telling a great story, like entertaining people, and people are like paying $10 or $20 and make sure they come to the show and watch you guys, and they're laughing their ass off and they're getting a good time. But at the same time, like, I'm thinking like a company like IWA, they were doing a farewell to Jay Miller. I was like, listen, man, when you're in this business for 10, 20 years, when people know who you are, when you put 5-star matches or 4-star matches in that case, when people misses who you are, whatever you are, then that makes sense. Like, you should put a farewell. And I was like, I don't really want to get deep into it, but I just express it. I don't care. I never seen him work in the ring. I never seen him taking a bump. I never seen him putting a good match. And I don't think he deserved anything like that. But it's one of those things that really insults our intelligence, like.
I questioned it
who
when
the
they
hell
said they
is
were going
this
to do
guy?
it. When they said they were going to do it, I questioned it, and I'll say this: I consider Jay a friend. I've got him on Facebook. We still talk quite a bit. We actually wound up becoming closer friends over all the stuff that's been going on with Black Lives Matter and everything else. But yeah, when they came to the fact they were going to do this farewell thing for him, like a farewell send-off match, I was against it, not as a, screw Jay, not by any stretch. It was more of he was here for a short time, left under pretty bad terms, and he came back for another very short stint. And now he's taken, he's going to be going away. He's going to be wrestling. So why are we doing a big send-off? I'm like, he's a heel. Why don't we just have him come out, have a baby face that he's been giving shit to for a while, beat the hell out of him, get that big payoff, and send him out kicking and screaming to the back, and that's the last time you see him. I mean, that way the fans go home happy, and he played his part and put someone else over. That's what I would have done. That's actually what I did do.
Yeah, man. It's just, like I said, this is one of those people like guys like me, you, and others like travel a lot, work our asses, and a guy like this get a send off, and I was like, oh, yeah. Well, I
Like
mean,
my last night there was no big send off. There was nothing special about it. I was scheduled to work a tag match that night. That was all I was supposed to do, was an opening tag match as the U.S. champion. And we were supposed to make the other guys look strong, and it was supposed to set up for a future match. The match went to hell. I wasn't happy with it. A couple hours later, I do mean a couple hours later, we're at the midway point of the show, 2 more hours in. Midway. And I'm being told, we're losing the crowd. Can you go back out there? By then, I already knew I didn't want to come back, so I thought.
That's when you work with Brandon Skinner.
Yep, that's what gave me the chance to do the right thing, because I didn't want to come back anyway. So I'm like, hey, I can go out here, save the show by giving the fans a feel-good moment. They can see this guy who they've been hating, who's been stealing victories for months now. They can see me finally get what I deserve, see Skinner get the title. It's going to be a huge pop, and it doesn't matter that the rest of the show has really sucked. What's going to matter to the fans is, damn, that was fun.
Yeah.
I mean, and we did some stuff in that match that a lot of wrestlers wouldn't agree to do, and a lot of it was my own idea. Like at one point, I'm so desperate to get away from Skinner that I'm on my hands and knees crawling to get away from him. And he runs over and grabs the back of my tights and stands over behind me and does like the old Norman Smiley big wiggle thing. And I think it's great because people are laughing hysterically, and I'm acting like I'm so angry that he's embarrassing me. And I'm like, we just played our parts perfectly. And was the match a clinic? No. Was it technically a great match? Probably not. But it was a spectacle. And I'm like, sometimes I think having a spectacle can be more important than, as long as it fits a good story and fits your narrative, better than having a great technical match.
Yeah.
So I knew that's not what we were going to have. We didn't have time to plan anything. And it was full of pretty big mistakes, like the referee throwing all the chairs out of the ring that we threw in. We threw like 12
I remember
chairs
watching
in the
that
ring.
match. Even Guile was like sitting in the crowd, and Joka came in, and they had something was going on outside.
Yeah, and that wasn't part of the match either. Just one of the people, a security guard says, "Hey guys, you should do something." So I remember I was actually really mad about that, because the same time that Joka and Guile had their interaction, I had given Skinner a DDT into an open chair that nobody saw.
Yeah.
Because all the crowd was watching those two. We hit it. And I'm like, that was cool. I look over, I'm like, son of a bitch.
Yeah. Took the spot.
Which, I mean, they didn't know, because they didn't know we were going to do that spot. It was a last minute.
They're trying to do the entertainment perspective. I know.
I mean, I wasn't mad at them. I was just like, come on. But the last visual they had in IWA of me was me being forced to the back by security while screaming at this guy, Heatwave, while screaming, "I'm going to kill you." So the last thing you see is me being taken screaming to the back. I'm like, that's a good exit for me.
Oh, man. Yeah, no. I remember when they started RPW, I was talking to this idiot, I'll say idiot, Tim Felicia, whatever the fuck his name is. Somebody who have no clue about professional wrestling.
Yeah.
So I was talking to him, and he called me on the phone. This son of a bitch is talking to me thinking that I'm Vinnie Violence. And yeah, that's the funniest part. And I was like, oh, then halfway of the conversation, he was like, wait a minute. Oh, you're not? Oh, I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. I thought that you, oh, man. I thought that I was talking to Vinnie Violence. Oh, man, you're the Nightmare guy. Oh, man, I love you, brother. I was like, I don't know how to respond to that shit, but yeah, then I was talking to him about the show, and he said he was talking to Vinny, and Vinny was telling him that he might won't be able to be there, and then he was telling me, it's like, yeah, man, you know what? I talked to the promoters and few workers. They said they don't like your style. but you know what, man? Maybe down the road, maybe I'll bring you in. And I was like, then later I heard what happened in TWA. I was like, son of a bitch. You can't just fucking go to a show and act like a, oh man, maniac. All the
no.
respect I had for that dude, oh man, I was like, you book me or not, I don't care. And I even told him the same thing. Listen, man, if they don't like my style, it's okay, because at the end of the day, I'm still traveling. I'm going to different states. I'm working with the different promotions. I'm still doing my stuff. What about Vinny Violence, or what about whatever the guys have worked in there? Wherever they worked, how many shows they worked. Like there's some people say, I've been in the business for 3 years, 5 years. Yeah, where did you work?
Exactly.
Nobody want to book you.
So I've been through the position, green and people not wanting to book you, and I just went out and asked for opportunities. And like I said, I took any criticism I get, and I still to this day, if someone says they don't like something I do or say, man, that sucked, that's great. I'm going to use that. I'm going to use that. I'm going to focus. I'm going to train. I'm going to get better. And I'm going to take that and I'm going to shove it up your ass. And I'm happy to have it.
Yeah.
Because, and you got to have that kind of attitude. Like I know Jericho said it before, you got to kind of be a dick at times in this business, because you can't always be nice.
Always learn. That's another thing too.
I try not to be nice. I try to be fair.
Yeah. Because you're putting your effort. You're trying your best to entertain people, and some people, they won't like it because that's their opinion, and you don't have to take it. Well, I mean, I'll take criticism and advice from somebody who's been in this business for quite a while, have an experience. Yeah, no problem, I'll take it, but I'm not gonna take it from a fucking green who never been anywhere.
Yeah.
And it's like
I've had people talk about, well, you're doing this thing wrong or that thing wrong, and that's great. I mean, I don't mind hearing that. Sometimes it's absolutely right, and it's something I can work on. Sometimes it's not. But there's so many guys I've seen that are so self-conscious that if you give them criticism, they take it like a personal attack. Like, I think one of the first shows I saw that you were at was the first TWA show. Watching it, I really enjoyed the match, and I think I had to say the only comment I had about your work was the same thing that Brad had said, and I remember he told you afterwards, which was he liked it, but strikes weren't that great.
Yeah,
he went and worked on it, and after the next couple of shows, they got better and better and better. I was like, because you didn't take it personal, you took it as, oh, there's room to improve.
Yeah,
I mean, imagine, do you think Brad would have had you back even though you were scheduled for the next show? Do you think he would have kept that plan had you gotten all pissy and went, screw you, I know what I'm doing?
Yeah, right.
There's always room to improve. I was at a show where I worked with the flu. I was sick as could be, but I wasn't turning down the opportunity. It was my second indie show, and I wrestled with the flu. And at one point, I go to give a guy an axe handle, and I walk up towards him, and I can barely lift my arms. As I get to the guy, instead of slamming him down, my arms just sort of collapsed.
Oh.
And it was just really pathetic looking. It looked like a little kid just ran up and just smacked him. And he sold it, but the promoter is right there. And after we get done, he told me, he's like, man, I loved everything else you did. He's like, God, your strikes sucked. And, I could have said, well, I was sick. I was this. I could have made the excuse. I said,
yeah.
I said, thanks for the advice. I'm definitely going to work on that. Because he wasn't looking for an excuse. He was giving a critique.
Yeah.
And I knew that it wasn't me. I knew it was that I was sick, and I knew I probably shouldn't have been there. And like today, if I was that sick, I would just not show up, especially with everything that's going on with all the health crisis right now. But then I was determined, you're booked, you show up no matter what.
Yeah. And you're willing to improve yourself, then that's all that matters. And some people, they get butt hurt. They just want to It's like for me, and I had ego too, man. I'd be honest with you, but I got a chance to learn and improve. I got a chance to go to Japan, do their camp, and work in there. Came back. I went to Charlotte, kind of like 10 hours from here. I drove there. I did New Japan Pro Wrestling tryout and their camp. Got a chance to meet Katsuyori Shibata and learn a lot of stuff. And still, Am I good? I'll consider myself I'm okay, but at the same time, I'm still improving. I watch my matches over and over and over again. I critique myself. Okay, next time this is what I'm going to do. Next time, this is what I'm going to do. But a lot of guys out there, man, they just butt hurt for everything. It's like, oh,
Oh
no,
yeah.
no. Yeah. And also, it's like, people, somebody called me a title mark. And I like to take this opportunity to answer it. Growing up as a kid, as a fan of this business, I never ever got a chance to buy a replica in my life. I never did. And this is the only title, the first and only title I ever held in my life. This is the XVW Internet title. So, that's kind of like singles title. I had been in tag team champions before, but that was special for me.
Oh yeah.
It's not like I'm going to a promotion, I'm talking to a promoter, it's like, hey, you know what, man? I want you to put that title. No, I worked my ass off for it.
Oh, absolutely.
And there are so many people out there, I don't want to mention their name, but they just show up and within 2 months they're this champion, they're that champion. I was like, okay, put a great fucking match. You earn it. How about you earn it?
I would say nothing gets under my skin faster than when someone tries to, in this business, says, well, the belts are just a gimmick. It's just a prop.
No, it's not. That's a problem.
Behind the scenes, yes, we know what they are. But what it is, I'm like, what it actually represents matters. If it doesn't matter to you, why are you doing this?
Exactly.
I mean, growing up as a kid, I didn't want to hear, imagine if Hogan would have came out. I mean, well, I guess he did in Japan, but imagine if Hogan had came out during the feud with Andre and been like, well, this belt's just a prop. So what's it matter if I lose to Andre? It would have ruined it.
Yeah.
WCW, the whole NWO angle was all based around trying to get that title back from Hogan, get it back from the dark side, because the power lies within the title.
Yeah.
The Horsemen built a career around Ric Flair having that belt, so he had all the say. Growing up, you see this stuff, so I mean, it means something. If it matters to the fans, it matters.
Yeah.
Never mind the whole idea of, well, the title means that they're putting their faith in you, they're trusting you. All that's true as well, but
yeah. If you don't believe in that, then just like Dusty said to DDP, then you shouldn't be in this business. This one guy from Ohio, I forgot his name anyway. He was posting something on social media. He said, "I'm not a title mark. I don't care about titles." Then get the fuck out of the business.
Exactly.
Go somewhere else.
Well, like right now, in TWA, I'm the legacy champion, which I love that. I was the first legacy champion. That means a lot. That's something that can't be taken away. No one else will be the first. But even when I got it, I remember I told Brad, I said, Brad, thank you. This means the world to me, and it does. And now I've got it for the second time. The first 2-time legacy champion. I said, but I want the heavyweight title. That's where I want to be. And it's not about, being a mark for the belt. It's about, that means you're the top. Where I'm at, I got the second tier. So I'm here, but there's still that title up here. And that's where I want to be. Not because, I want it handed to me. I want to be the guy that earns that right. I want to be the guy that people that show up at the building look at as, he's the champ. He's the top guy here. He's why I'm here. And I think we all should want that. Everyone in the company, we should all be, even if we're all friends backstage, we should all want to be the main eventer. We should all want to be the guy that everyone's there to see. That's just my opinion anyways. If you don't want to be that guy, then why be there at all?
Yeah, true, right?
I mean, even someone like Orange Cassidy, with the gimmick of just not caring, you can tell by his ring work that he does care and he wants to be that guy. I mean, obviously the performance last week on Dynamite with Jericho was amazing. And the gimmick is not established to be that, but you can tell the worker wants it.
Yeah.
And that's something that anyone watching can understand. When it touches you, when it's coming from here, that resonates.
Absolutely, man. So talking about that, I want to ask you about this video podcast. So when you're planning on airing this episode, and also what we can expect on your next episode?
This one will hopefully be up tomorrow, so it'd be July 15th is my goal, is to have it launch at some point during the 15th.
Yeah.
Which, as I said before, consequently, I'll be 34, so, what better
Many,
way
happy
to
returns
celebrate?
of the day, brother.
Huh?
Many happy returns of the day. Happy birthday, brother.
Yep. Thank you. Like I said, I'm hoping to get that out. Once it's up, it'll also be up on Anchor as well.
That's cool.
I do want, unless something happens with scheduling, I think the first guest is going to wind up being Miss Hannah. I mean, because I know you guys had issues with recording before, so I know she wants to do it. This is a good chance to do it. And it'll pretty much be gloves off. Whatever she wants to talk about, we'll cover it. I don't care if it's something that, it doesn't matter to me. If it's something she wants to talk about, she wants to get out there, that it's her time.
Yeah, I got a chance to talk to her, and I can tell you this: you have like a lot of really good experience, like working in Florida, Ohio, and working in OVW. Yeah, I'm sure that'd be like a great podcast, man. That's for sure.
Because I want to bring her on. I've already talked to, like I said before, I mentioned Joker Wild about coming on and talking more about music and maybe telling a couple more interesting road stories. Because yours, the interviews you do with like him and Damien are very much an overarching, looking at the career. So I'm wanting to dive in and look at, let's have them pick out a few favorite moments that they maybe skipped out on. Like when I did the podcast for you, then like a week later I did one for Buckshot. I had a really hard time coming up with new material because I didn't want to tell him the same things.
Same story, yeah, I know.
Why would anyone want to listen to his podcast if it's going to be a rehash?
Yeah.
So I figured we'll try to look at different aspects of it. And if we get on there and they decide, well, we want to talk about our favorite cereal, why not?
Yeah, right.
I'd love to see two grown men get pissed off over whether or not Lucky Charms are better than Trix. Why not?
Oh, absolutely, man.
I was hoping to see about getting a hold of Tim and Stacy, the Pattersons. I think getting them on, giving them a chance to tell their story.
They're so underrated, man. I really wanted to work with.
Good.
Yeah, I really wanted to work with him, but never got a chance. Wanted to do something with him.
I only got to spend a little bit of time in the ring with Stacy, and she is so amazing to work with. But like Timmy, I've had so many matches with him, and
yeah, you guys worked in the early days of Timmy and TWA. You guys did the hardcore stuff, right? Yeah, I remember.
When I hit him with a guitar, and I'll save that story for when he can tell it, because I can't tell you what he felt. All I can tell you is it sounded like a dog chew toy when I hit him, because he squeaked.
Yeah.
I was like, that's not a normal sound. Is he okay? But
yeah, and he had some good stories too. That's for sure. In the locker room, he told me that he started as a referee, just like Slamwell did.
That's how he already knew Damien and Joker from when he was refereeing.
Yeah.
So I mean, definitely he's got a history in it. I know there's different guys, some that I know some that you don't, that I want to bring on, especially the ones you don't, because it's a good chance to learn and network. I probably shouldn't say this because she hasn't confirmed yet. So, but I've also talked about reaching out to maybe someone like a Casey Dillon and see if she'd be interested in talking with us. I know she's wrestled all over the place and she's a hell of a worker. Pretty much anyone that has a story they want to tell, I'll bring them on. Worst case scenario is it's not a good story and we'll make up a better one. I mean, that's what wrestling is, right?
Yeah, right. Absolutely.
Never let the truth get in the way of a good story.
Absolutely.
But yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking we're going to do. It's going to be an open platform. I don't want to do a whole lot of planning, so it's going to be, what do you want to talk about? Okay, I'll make a checklist. We'll try to hit all those things. And, if it goes over, we can always do multiple parts. We can do one, just whatever they want to do. I want to keep it very open, keep it very loose so that it can change as we need. And there'll probably be more times with just you and me doing like this, just riffing off each other. Because I think we were talking about doing this for maybe 20 minutes. I know it's been
20 minutes. Yeah, right.
I don't have a timer in front of you. I know it's been a lot longer than that, but I think it's all been good. So, Like I said, definitely, I'm looking forward to doing more of these, and hopefully they'll be up semi-regularly. It's just a matter of getting scheduling together and making it happen.
Yeah, at least once in a week or something like that. Like, we gotta
Once a week,
find out,
every
like,
other week,
yeah,
yeah, absolutely.
yeah, or something like that. Yeah.
If we can't get someone on within a week, we'll just get on here and just BS for a while.
Yeah, brother. Maybe we can bring Buckshot too. Just saying.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's been with us long enough. I'm sure he's got plenty of good stories.
Yeah, he's on podcast too.
Yeah. I mean, because I'm curious to hear, because like I told you, I got to do one with you, or it's just me and you telling your stories, because you've interviewed so many people already and got give them a chance. So probably in the next couple weeks, I'll definitely have to do that too, because I'm curious to hear more about yours. Because I know what you've told me, but I know that's just scratching the surface.
Yeah.
Like I'm sure we could do a whole episode on Japan.
Yeah.
Easily. So I'm sure that was probably like, I'm assuming that had to have been like years worth of work condensed into just a short period of time.
Yeah. I was actually there twice. I went there for the first time back in 2013. Then I went back 2019. Yeah, man. Yeah, a lot of great experience. Yeah, it was kind of like a magic world, magic land. It was definitely, as every single day, I made sure I get some good memories.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to cover that. I definitely, if we ever get too bored, we'll just start promoting like shit back and forth.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
We'll see what happens when the Indian Nightmare actually has a conversation with Cross, because I'm keeping Cross locked up right now.
Yeah, just want to let you know, since I'm here, like, I've been doing this Indian Nightmare gimmick for the last 2 years. I've done a lot of stuff, and there's so many nightmares out there. This nightmare, that nightmare, nightmare 1, nightmare 2. So next month, like by the end of August, I'm moving to South. So before that, I want to end the Indian Nightmare gimmick here in the Midwest. So I won't be. This is my plan. I'm thinking about, but eventually on your show, I'll tell you, and I'll tell the world. But most probably, you will be seeing the Indian Nightmare Vineesh in the Midwest, maybe by the end of August, and that's it.
Okay.
And I won't be the Indian Nightmare, most probably, because I'm coming up with this gimmick, my background, my culture, my language, my tradition. And I recently found out that, that the language that we use to communicate in our family is called Tamil, which is more than 5,000 years old. And I was freaking out when I hear that. I was like, shit, I could just go with this thing.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And I was thinking, so a lot of things going on in my head, but Indian Nightmare, that's the last thing that I probably am going to do.
Well, I know a couple guys that have had things where they've jumped around with their gimmicks. So maybe we'll get a couple of them on there, and we can maybe do a whole podcast talking about that at some point.
Yeah, man.
I will say, before Vincent Cross was the unhinged lunatic who laughed at everything, Vincent Cross was this really serious, kind of boring character who called himself the Reaper.
The Reaper. Well, you shouldn't be talking at all. I mean, you should just wear a hoodie and stare at people and say something nice.
Well,
maybe 2 lines like Undertaker. Yeah.
It actually it led to a story I'll save for another day, but where I found out there was another guy that was established around here going by the Reaper.
Yeah.
And he wasn't too happy to hear that this trainee was using his gimmick. All right. Well, yeah, I think that's definitely, we went longer than I expected us to. I know we got plenty of good content on here. I think it's been a good evening.
Yeah. And also I want to say something small here. Like, so recently somebody posted on Facebook that Kodiak passed away, and I was like, what the fuck? He's so fucking young. Then I saw the picture.
Yeah.
This Kodiak been in the business for 25 years and passed away.
That's not the same one then.
And I was like, dude, that's crazy. All right, brother. Yeah, go ahead.
It's just been a good time. We'll definitely keep people updated. As hopefully within the next week or so, we'll have Miss Hannah on here and keep this rolling. Hopefully, anyone listening, or watching, whichever one you're doing, hopefully you enjoyed it. And if not, go on YouTube and give us hell in the comments.
Absolutely. And what will be the name of the podcast on Anchor? Is the same?
Yeah, it's just going to be on there. It'll just be Unhinged Wrestling Podcast. I've already got my Anchor account set up for that. So
yeah.
Like I said, hopefully tomorrow this will be available on both Anchor and on YouTube. And once it's up, I'll be sharing it on all my social media platforms. I'll send it to you as well, and hopefully people enjoy it. And people want more.
Man. Absolutely.
If they don't want more, they can tell us later.
Yeah, right. We need to come up with something where like fans can ask us questions, like, or something like that. Send us some questions, the questions that we can ask the talents or something like that. Maybe down the road.
We can definitely set up a Q&A, because I'm wanting to set up a Facebook page for this as well. So it's just where we can actually have that kind of platform for people to ask us questions, because as I said beforehand, I got brought this with me, so I would have access to all that. That's why I keep looking over here. Man. I keep looking over because, like, when you mentioned the thing with Tom McLean, I was looking up the thing so I could read it, but you pretty much covered everything that was on it. I'm like, well, he already remembered it. Yeah,
right. Well, I mean, sometimes you got to work with the technology, and I just want to say, like, just because of the support and the motivation from people, I got a chance to buy this and do a podcast.
Yeah.
So yeah, man. So it was awesome, to be on your video podcast. Thank you so much, and I can't wait to see more talents coming down there and share their stories.
Oh, absolutely! It's going to keep getting better.
All right, brother. Thank you so much for having me, and you're the birthday boy today. Celebrate your birthday, man. Again, happy birthday. And, man, I really wish we could have done something in the ring, throw a cake or something. But unfortunately, the whole pandemic has ruined everything. But you know what? You're with the family, so I want you to have some blast, some good, fun times with your wife and kids. Thank you so much, brother.
Yeah, glad to have you. I'm going to hop off here, and I'm going to go probably grab my 10-year-old. It's a little after midnight. Probably have him kick my ass at Rocket League. Never tried it. He said it's a great game. I said, yeah, why not? Why not make the first thing I do play a game with him and have him beat my ass on it?
All right, brother. See you soon.
Have a good one.
Yeah, you too. Bye.